today's gonna get a little bit more how-to-y than usual, because not only does today's build go over what I think is a legitimately nice solution that's easy to do, but I managed to screw it up so many times that I can tell you what not to do. I'll be taking apart a completely functional solar fountain I put together last year just to redo this one part right here, which is a cement basin I made. So about a year ago, I decided I wanted a solar-powered fountain, and ended up with this monstrosity. It actually works, but it's not very pretty, and so I'm gonna do the whole process again, basically changing almost nothing. I'm sure that'll go great. And a large reason of why this project's even happening is we got these parts for the nice low price of free $50, which means to make this epic thing work, all I need is a functional fountain pump. The standard thing to do would be to have an underground water basin, but the thing is, having an electric cord running into the garage and running electricity to this thing indefinitely doesn't sound like the super coolest, so I want to do the solar thing. But this thing is pretty darn tall, and solar fountain pumps do tend to have less power than their electric counterparts, so the solution I'm going with is to have a custom-made basin right here where the fountain pump can just chill in the water, spray water out the top, and otherwise it'll function as you'd expect. Plug it in and water comes out, yay! There's a distinct difference between when there's sun and when there's not. Basically, if there's any shade, it just doesn't feel like doing anything, and if there is sun, it does fountain things, which is plenty good for me because I don't feel like dealing with batteries. Here's a speedrun of last year's basin build. I do think it's overall a good idea with a couple tweaks, so we'll go through it and I'll call out the juicy clip where it all goes wrong. And we'll get to all this clay I'm using shortly. The gist is to put some unused planters to work by using them as a mold for the cement. Use one that fits the size you need for the basin, and then you have a smaller one on the inside to create the empty space for the fountain pump. By drilling holes in the side, you can cram PVC pipes through the planters, which will ensure that water gets into the middle. There were some other minor things I could have done differently, but the main whoopsie is right here. Oh no. It's always good to capture footage of yourself being an idiot and then posting it online, but for anyone else that needs the warning, don't use mulch. It can very easily get into the cement, and I don't know about you, but I don't want my fountain basin to be made out of mulch. Using mulch may seem like a stupid thing to do, and that's because it is, but basically you need to have something sit in the inner planter to keep its shape and weigh it down a little bit, but I didn't have rocks on hand and did have mulch and made a whoopsie. That brings us to the present where I'm doing the same thing again, planters and PVC. The reason for the clay is I don't have the right size planter to fit what's needed for the fountain. I need it to be wider, so I'm raising the base of the mold up a bit, but then I need it to be flat. This time around, I tried packing some sand on top of it, which worked okay. I think if I did this a third time, I'd just be cutting the planter and taping it onto some wood, but I do not plan to do this a third time. This go around, I did learn and used rocks instead of mulch for the middle, so surely things go well, right? Right? Idiot mistake number 2. I didn't have quite enough cement, and to make things worse, I accidentally poured in a bit too much water on the last stir, so it was slightly soupy. Thankfully, mixing gravel and cement is a thing anyway, so I just dumped in some of my support rocks until the cement was up to where it should be. Unfortunately, my GoPro thinks that 7% battery is the same as 0% battery, so apparently I don't have that footage. Regardless, I definitely recommend not being me and just having the right amount of cement on hand in the first place. I'm happy to report though that the rock solution did save the day and the basin turned out just fine. I freed it from its planter prison, let it cure, reassembled the fountain, did some nice pretty cable management for the solar panels, and it didn't work. I think this just died, which is hilariously bad timing. Twice. First, the pump was messed up and needed taken apart and cleaned. See that water spinning? That's a working fountain, babby. Then after reassembling the fountain again, the tubing was slightly kinked so the water wasn't making it up all the way. Yay, it's done again. Thankfully, as they say, the 30 millionth time is the charm, but eventually I forced the fountain to cooperate. So there you go, all the drama and disasters you'd expect from a Game of Thrones, and for anyone curious, that is how to needlessly overcomplicate making a solar-powered fountain with a custom basin. But now we get to do the nice ooh-ah. Ooh. Anyway, that's it. Catch you on the next one.